Well, good morning, paper crafters. Thank you for joining me today at Juanette's Paper Crafts. I'm starting to get excited about Christmas. In today's tutorial, we are going to focus more on the envelope than the card. But you can see the card is very nice also. It's a diorama card, and I have used some of our designer series paper for my images. I basically just fussy cut them out and then glued them onto the card to create a scene. But I think the real showstopper here is the fact that you're able to view the card through the vellum envelope, including the little sentiment that says a very Merry Christmas. Now, I wanted this card to be old looking and vintage because that's the way the images look. So I basically just used the garden green color and very vanilla and distressed it in crumb cake. It stands on its own, and then there's a sentiment in the center that says it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Now on this next card, I used our Memories and More pack. And again, you can see the card through the window. I basically just took one of the Memories and More cards, glued it to a card base, and that's my card. I gold embossed the envelope and cut out the vellum window. And so let's get started and let me show you how I made these cards. So here are the supplies that you're going to need to make this Christmas card. The Toile Tidings Designer Series paper, and if you look real close, it follows along to where you can cut these out quite easily, and you can get several rows of the images. And I've went ahead and cut those out, and I have them in this little bowl here. You could also use this pattern of paper with the bear and the fox and the rabbit. You will need crumb cake, ink, the stitched rectangle framelit dies, and the one I'm using is the third from the largest. You will need a piece of vellum that is about 5 by 4 inches. You will need 2 strips of very vanilla. One is 5 by 1 inch, the other one is 5 by 1.5. For the card base, you will need a piece of 11 by 4 1/4, and you're going to score it at 5 1/2, and it will be a side opening card. Then for the mat to go on the inside, it is 5 1/4 by 4. Then for the diorama part of the card, it is 9 1/4 by 4, and we're going to score it at 1/2, at 1, 1 1/2, and 2 on both this side. Then we're going to flip it and score it on that side. And then you will need a piece of 8 by 8 very vanilla for the envelope. So like I said, we will take our 9 1/4 by 4 inch very vanilla cardstock, and we're going to score it at 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 1 1/2, and 2 inches. Then we're going to rotate it and do exactly the same thing. Then you're going to take your third largest stitched rectangle die. Before we burnish our cardstock, we're going to cut out our rectangle here. Now keep this die handy because we're going to need it for our envelope also. So then what you're going to do is distress all of your edges, and I'm using crumb cake here. I also have vintage photo, and they are almost the same. You can't even tell the difference between the two. So all of those are distressed. And then I'm going to take one of my 5 1/4 by 4 inches pieces. And I think at the beginning of the video, I only told you that you would need one, but you actually need 2. And I'm going to make some hills, and I'm going to take the edge of my sponge here and just run it across just to bring in a few little hills. And that's that. Then I'm going to start folding my piece that we have cut out and scored on both sides. So the one closest here to the edge is going to be a mountain fold. So I'm going to fold that and distress it. Then you're going to have a valley fold. So in, and then out, and then in. So mountain, valley, mountain, valley. And we're going to distress all of those. Then the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the tops of each one of these so that they appear to be like small little hills. So it just a small little round corner. And then we will distress those also. Now if you have the new curvy dies, those would be fantastic. I haven't bought those yet, but I do need to because I know that I will end up using them. So then we're going to just distress these edges. And then before I glue this down here, I'm going to glue at least one side in first. So I want my tallest heel toward the back. It's just going to fit right in here and butt up right up against that score line there. And you're going to have your bottom here even with this bottom. So let's, I think the best thing would be using a little bit of liquid glue. So again, like I said, your biggest one or your tallest one first, and it's going to go right up against that score line. Might need a little bit of extra glue in here so I can see. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, for a minute there, I thought, did I glue that the wrong way? But no, I didn't. And then we're going to lay this one in on the next little curvy line. So let's just put a little bit of glue there, or the next score line, sorry. So just a little bit of glue on the edge there. And I'm going to line that up, lay it in there, and make sure it's even. And just hold it for a minute. I actually realized I can do the other sides too before I lay down the whole card. So I think I'm going to do that. So a little bit of glue on both of these edges. I want to make sure that's adhered well before I go moving it around and messing it up. So this one is going to go here. And it's going to just line up. I'm going to fold that over so you guys can see that. But it just lays in there. And the glue's right there. And then I folded it over. So now I'm going to put glue here on this edge. And lay that in the next fold line at the score mark. There you go. Then I'm just going to hold those down for just a minute so that glue adheres well. So now all we have to do is adhere our diorama part of the card to the base. And remember I said this is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And you just do it on both edges. Apply your strong adhesive glue. So before I lay everything down, I've taken a piece of the mini dimensionals, the edge of it, and I've colored them in the crumb cake. And I'm just going to lay it down here. Now you can see how there are like 3 layers here. I'm going to lay it underneath the middle one so that it stands up. And so I think the easiest thing to do is just slip it in there and then peel off the backing. There we go. And actually, I don't even have to peel off that backing. So what I've done is add some dimensionals to the back of this first layer, because I want it to stand up a little bit. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of liquid glue over here. And tuck that right in here. I want to make sure I don't cover up my little deer. And then I will lay this one down, but I'm going to lay it flat. So I've laid all my scenes down. Some are on dimensionals. Some are just glued to the bottom. We've got the carolers here, the couple in the sleigh, the little girl and dog here with the little tree, a deer here, church back here, and a home back here. So my sentiment is A Very Merry Christmas. And that stamp set is from Gift Wrapped. And I've stamped it in garden green, punched it out with the story label punch, distressed around it. And so I'm going to glue it up here toward the top, but I want it to show through my envelope. So I'm only going to put glue to that point there, or to where those little curves are at. And I'm going to set that aside to dry, and I'm going to bring in our envelope. Now, you've seen me use the envelope punch board before, and I took the same stitched rectangle die that I used to cut out the window for the card, and I cut out the envelope, a little rectangle here. And now I'm going to distress the inside. I have folded and burnished my score lines. And now I'm going to take my vellum piece and lay it in here and glue it down. Then I've taken double-sided tape and I've adhered it on the inside so that my envelope will close. I'm going to remove the backing off of it. Bring in my card, and when I slide my card into the envelope and turn it over, you can see where it says A Very Merry Christmas. You'll be able to put your address here with a little peel, little label, and have your return address on the back. But isn't that a fun Christmas card that someone could receive? I would love getting that card in the mail. I might have to put a little something there. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. Thank you for joining me as always. Thank you for my subscribers. Again, if you ever need any of the Stampin' Up! Products, you may order them from my 24/7 online store at JuanetteHewitt.stampinup.net. And I just want to show you real quick a couple of other cards that I made, kind of using the same idea. This one, I used the Memories and More pack, and all I did was lay the card on top of some Whisper White cardstock. I made the envelope, and I had gold heat embossed the holly on there. This little card, again, very, very simple. You'll be able to put your address there. It's just got a little bit of our very vanilla lace there, and some of our designer series paper. Again, just a very Merry Christmas here. Very, very simple card. And this one I used in our very vanilla envelope. And it's pretty much the same as the other diorama card. But this wasn't able to show very well in the envelope here through the vellum. So that's why I put it in just one of our regular envelopes. Anyway, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you guys next Monday. Bye.